and not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision. There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision.
It's vaccination or disciplinary action.
Well, folks, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Yes, we started 5 minutes early, folks. You've got to be prepared for everything, anything coming along. You may be prepared, but if you get caught off guard, you get kind of behind the 8 ball, don't you? Right? I didn't do this to be a total dick. I'm just doing it to, well, to be me. To say, hey, look, we're going to throw you a curveball every now and then to see how you handle it. It is the Prepared Mind channel. It is the first Q&A of the week, and let's get into it. But we start with my half hour. I get the first half hour. You guys get the second half hour where you do the Q&A. I'm going to do my monologue, folks. And I wanted to do one real quick thing. We're going to talk about the preparedmind.club. It looks like we're going to have to find ourselves another gas mask provider. It looks like we're finding ourselves some more products to put on there for you. And as noted, we did work with Olights to come up with flashlights and tactical stuff. They sent me another one, and it is the Warrior 3 flashlight. It is actually pretty damn heavy duty. And I wanted to just briefly talk about it and then tell you, hey, look at this. Okay, number one, it's fucking blindingly bright. Number two, it comes with a mount to put it on a Picatinny rail. Number three, it has a remote trigger or switch, if you will. But on YouTube, go to Sensible Prepper on YouTube. He did a long review on the product, and he'll get his opinion too. I'm impressed with it. Enough said. See what Sensible Prepper has to say about this particular exact flashlight. He's been around as long, if not longer than me on YouTube. And we're coming up on 8 years, folks, of the Prepared Mind being right here saying, are you prepared? Are you ready? Aren't you glad you're a prepper? Right? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Folks, I got to tell you, I don't think I need to argue the idea and concept of being prepared. I don't think I need to argue you better be ready in case you're caught off guard. Be prepared for everything. Improvise, adapt, overcome, because it has begun. We're going to talk about some of these beginnings and some of these arguments that are being made, folks. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable what is going on, and the week has just begun. Just begun. Let's start here. The brilliant people, folks, who are in charge of all of us, me, you, everybody, right? They're now, folks, redefining words because they are losers and they are liars, and they need new definitions to justify further lies and further actions against you and your constitutional rights. What word are they redefining? Well, I think they should redefine butt heads and put pictures of themselves next to it. But the word booster is going to be redefined, folks, because what they're selling us smells like bullshit to me. And they need to change the definitions the same way this one came up today, folks. I love it, folks. Jen Psaki, White House mouthpiece, came out and said, quote, "We are not in the middle of a historic economic crisis right now." How about this, Jen? Have you heard about the shipping issues with literal ships offshore at all U.S. ports and literal interstate and intrastate and all around the states trucking? Have you heard about the oil, the energy, the electricity issues that are going on, not only with rising prices, but availability? How about food uncertainty? Have you heard about that historic crisis that's involved with the economy? How about infrastructure failures in general? How about gasoline costs, Jen? How about generalized inflation greater than the 1970s? All in Joe Biden's first year. Folks, they don't want to argue the facts. They just want to lie to you. We are here, me and you, to do what? We're here to look at the facts, to get prepared, to help others see the light. I guess I got to do something with that one, right? I'm here to help people see the light. This thing is incredibly bright. It's actually kind of dangerous if you want to protect your night vision, but more on tactics later. Right now, we're just getting to the facts. Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And the generalized fuckery of the Biden administration. Fuck Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. And I hope you have been looking at the links that we add, that we show on Patreon. A lot of serious stuff that I can't discuss here. So thank you for coming to Patreon. If you're on YouTube, be sure you're subscribed. If you're on YouTube, be sure to hit the bell. But if you're on YouTube, you may want to consider coming to Patreon for $2 a month, 7 cents a day. It funds the Prepared Mind Network and what we're doing. And folks, Brother Jim is going to be doing a covert reconnaissance of the American plains, right? From sea to shining sea. He's going to be on the road bringing you updates from things he sees around the country. And it's all top secret. It may be one a day or one every other day or 3 days. I don't know. It's hard to control that guy. But he's going to be in disguise. Kind of hard to see, hard to figure out who he is. Anyways, the Prepared Mind Network is all over it, folks. And your support keeps us going. Let's move on if we shall. I mean, there's already, it's Monday, folks. Already, there is too much to talk about in just the 30 minutes that I get to start off. But I want to talk about this. China, folks, get this. China is now absolutely quiet on where their tennis star, Peng Shuai, is. And there's growing concern, right? Because she came out and complained that a communist leader, one of the members of their uppity elite muckety mucks, a communist, she accused of sexual assault. Well, whoopsie, young lady and other Chinese folks, remember, you're in a fascist economy, but it's a communist country. It's run and owned by the commies. And there is no accusing communist leaders of things that us lowly peasants aren't allowed to do, right? You will, if you're a peasant, allow the elites to rape and plunder against you, right? As long as that leader is a communist, just like in America. Just a little warning for China there, folks. It's incredible. We're seeing the same thing, folks, in communist China as Australia, as the United States, as Europe. And speaking of Australia, let's talk about Austria. Woo! And it's not just Austria, folks, which has ordered nationwide lockdown for the haven't taken the gym juicers. But they're joined by Vienna, Holland, Germany, Austria, and many other countries who are demanding their freedom, folks. Remember this slogan? It's my body, my choice. I'm pro-choice. Whatever happened to that quasi-legal philosophical argument? Fucking leftist, communist hypocrites is what they are. And that is precisely why, folks, my body, my choice, I'm pro-choice only matters when it comes to what they want. When it comes to what you want, you have no choice, you have no voice, you have no say. It is SHTF for you, and you will obey your socialist masters here in the United States of America and indeed around the world. How do you like socialism now? I think that's a fair freaking question, don't you? All these people who want more government entitlements and government handouts and government hand-ups and government assistance and government safety nets, and government price fixing and government, yeah, you give the government that much power, turn your back on that government, and you might start feeling a little pressure in your sphincter. Oh yeah, folks. Instead of calling people anti-vaxxers, I'm going to start calling them free choicers. Well, in Germany, folks, the experts, according to Der Spiegel, have decided there's a big problem because the free choicers and the politicians aren't cooperating with what the real experts want to see done to Germany. Here's a quote. The winter will be a societal and medical challenge for Germany, resulting from a lack of preparation, clear rules, and rigor. That's interesting. What do they mean by that? Well, number one, I want to remind you of my prognostication because I am just a regular guy, but I've spent a lot of time thinking. And I have a secular prediction, a prognostication that after Christmas or shortly thereafter, the United States of America and the world will be subject to massive demands and calls for lockdowns and that there's going to be some sort of crisis. But lack of preparation. Are you unprepared? Clear rules. Yeah, we got clear rules. It's called the Constitution. And rigor. That means the courage of your convictions. When it comes to government, the courage of their convictions, how much authority do they have and can they get away with fucking us up? On our side of the balance sheet is our rigor or the courage of our conviction, the belief that we have rights and that the Constitution is the law of the land, not, folks, to be cast aside because some politician has declared an emergency. I spent a good deal of time talking with Chris B. Bacon some more on some more topics, as well as a lot of you folks out there in the Prepared Mind Network regarding what is going to happen. Will southern states be prohibited from having aircraft fly out of other U.S. states? In fact, will they be treated like foreign countries where the United States government says, no, 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 states like Texas and Florida, you're not allowed to fly into because they don't have lockdown rules. They're refusing to lock down in states like Texas and Florida, and therefore no federal air traffic will be allowed in there. Are they going to try punishing Florida, which is a largely, folks, a largely funded by a tourism state? You know, Disneyland and Universal Studios and beaches and shit like that. Are they going to say, hey, we're going to punish Florida and take that away? Are they going to punish Texas by removing federal contracts? We're going to find out, folks. It's coming. They don't want to argue the facts, folks. They just want to create the shit it's the fan scenario. And I want to do this. I want to go right to this, folks. It's absolute lunacy in Kenosha, Wisconsin. No, no, no. They haven't delivered a verdict, not to my knowledge. Haven't done that yet. But we have lunacy nonetheless. In a shockingly stupid closing argument, the Rittenhouse case prosecutor has claimed that Kyle Rittenhouse, quote, lost the right to self-defense. He lost his right because he was carrying a gun. That's right, folks. Somehow you can lose a right. I thought our rights were, get this, dickwad in Kenosha, inalienable rights. Remember that statement? Our rights as Americans, as free people anywhere on the planet should be, but certainly in the United States of America, our rights are inalienable, which means they cannot be separated from us. You cannot distinguish between it can't be done. You can't lose your rights. Now you can have them stripped from you by an unlawful government, but you can't just fucking lose them like I lost my car keys. Folks, you have a right to self-defense. Number one, well established. It's enshrined in the Constitution. It is a God-given right spoken of in the Declaration of Independence, and fuck Joe Biden. But get this, without a gun, how can one use deadly force to protect one's life and the lives of others from a deadly encounter with a convicted criminal? That's right, Kyle Rittenhouse was dealing with convicted criminals. Without a gun, how was he supposed to defend himself against others with guns? Well, even if one doesn't know that the people they're dealing with are felons, can one assume someone screaming, "I will fucking kill you," as a serious threat? Especially when they do have a gun and they're pointing it at you, or they're beating you with wooden objects like skateboards, or if they come at you with serious aggression, threats, and any weapon of any sort, including the closed fist. How are you supposed to exercise the right to self-defense, which involves the use of weapons? A baseball bat. Hello, that's a weapon. And if you are being attacked and you fear great bodily harm or injury and death, you can use a baseball bat or a gun. But how can you use a gun if you're not allowed to have a gun? Meaning, if you carry a gun, you lose your right to self-defense, because now you're anticipating that you're going to have to use it, and therefore it's premeditated on your part. You want to use it. That's the fucking circular argument they're using, folks. They're arguing for SHTF. They're not arguing to be correct, to be right, to be factual, to be accurate. Unbelievable, folks. Do I want to talk about this? Yeah, let's do it. Minnesota governor has been caught. You want some facts? I'll give it to you. The Minnesota governor has been caught. Pow. Email exposed. Doing what? What are they doing? What has the Minnesota governor been caught for? Creatively enhancing their misinformation campaign, right? We got a leaked email that shows the Wall's chief of staff scheming to find ways to better sell the cerveza bug fear porn, because the numbers they had weren't very big. Caught, folks, absolutely caught. And asked to creatively enhance things. That is code speak for fucking lying. They're caught. Do you think that that's going to make national news? No. It made the Citizens Free Press, but it won't make national news because they're liars, folks. And just like redefining the word booster, we go back to President Clinton, not Hillary. She never became president. But Bill, remember when he argued over the Monica Lewinsky thing and said, well, it depends on what the meaning of is. Creatively enhancing. I guess it depends on whether or not we want the facts to be actual facts. Folks, all we get from the elites, the politicians, the lying bureaucracy, the big banks, the big corporations, is lies and hypocrisy. That's all we get anymore. Do you trust them, or do you trust yourself? Do you trust the words you hear from trusted sources? Right? Hey, you want a good flashlight? Would you listen to what Dr. Doom or Hillary Clinton or Eric Holder or Barack Obama have to say about a flashlight? Or would you rather listen to Sensible Prepper on YouTube? Would you rather trust Jen Psaki when she says there's not an economic problem? Or would you rather trust Crispy Bacon, aka Clearwater Chris, on, hey, if you want to make sure you've got vegetables, you better get some sprouts? Because when they cut the food off, folks, when they go to punish us, You're on your own. You are prepared, but are you ready at a moment's notice? Which is kind of why I started the video a few minutes early, is to say, hey, guess what, right? Shit goes a little sideways sometimes. So the Rittenhouse trial, folks, they had their closing arguments, the prosecutor's closing arguments. Folks, I listened to this several times at several different points, and it was a long time, a lot of blowhard bullshit coming from this guy, covering every aspect of the case from his particularly unusual position of having his own head up his own ass. Dude is amazing. The man lied. He misled. He gave false statements, had poor arguments, worse conclusions, and in every instance I listened to, provided nauseating commentary and opinion having nothing to do with the actual facts or circumstances of the case. It is as if he is living in a fucking bizarro world where everything, folks, makes sense to him, and that's how he told the story. But when you look at the facts, when you consider the video evidence, the testimony from not only the defense but the prosecution, you're like, where did this guy come up with this shit? Now, I just, as being the curious guy I am, I thought it would be interesting if these same statements and facts coming from the prosecutor in the Kyle Rittenhouse case were made about a person that he, as an attorney, was defending. Would he argue against his own facts he's using today the same way we do? Right? The point is, does he know? And is he knowingly politically persecuting Kyle using the power of the state in an unethical, immoral, unconscionable manner? I think that yes, he does. He is both, yes, that's stupid. Yes, he could come up with an argument against his own arguments, which he thinks are bulletproof, because he's a liar. He's an attorney who lies for a living. And he's using the state power to persecute not just Kyle Rittenhouse. And I am pleased as punch to note that everyone in the prepping community, everyone in the patriot community, everyone in the legal community, everyone who is of their right mind is saying, wait a minute, this isn't about Kyle Rittenhouse. It's not just about Kyle Rittenhouse, it's about all of us. It's about all of us and our right to self-defense. That's what this trial is about. And whether or not Kyle is convicted or acquitted, folks, there's going to be trouble and there will be hell to pay. Either way, in the future, do you think that if Kyle is found guilty, do you think that other prosecutors around the country won't use these same arguments to come after you and scare the people into not defending themselves? Because, hey, I mean, this is one of his arguments. You don't bring a gun to a fist fight. No, you bring a gun to protect yourself, period. End of argument. There is nothing else. If someone tries beating you to death with their fists, which is possible, you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to defend yourself against great bodily injury and harm, as well as if you fear that you're going to die. Because when someone's pounding your fucking head into the pavement with a fist or their foot, you can be knocked out, knocked cold, knocked senseless, and knocked dead. And even if you're not dead, it's still great bodily harm and injury, folks. It's called being maimed. Now, if you're laying on the ground, having your head bashed in by a hand, like I said, they can stand up and start using their feet. There are numerous videos on YouTube of people getting their lives beaten out of them, and someone starts kicking them as well. They can, while you're laying there bloody and semi-conscious or unconscious, go pick up a stick, a bat, or get some other weapon and finish you off. You have a right to defend yourself, even when the other person doesn't have a gun. Period. This guy's a fucking moron. I wish I could argue against him in court and call him all sorts of dirty names at the same time, belittling him, ad hominem attacks on top of justifiable ad hominem attacks, because that's what this guy deserves. The entire prosecutorial system, folks, is showing us its political nature. And folks, politics has nothing to do with the law. The Constitution is the law. What you know to be right is the law. Some jackass's opinion based on his politics is not law, ever. And that's the fight that we're going to have here in the United States of America, and indeed around the world, because around the world, governments are deciding what is and isn't right for us, the little people, to have. And that thing they don't want us to have is called freedom. There was this president named JFK, John F. Kennedy. He had a brother, RFK, Robert F. Kennedy. Well, JFK, of course, as we know, lost his head, literally. His son crashed his plane, lost his life, and yes, RFK, the brother of JFK, was assassinated by Sirhan Sirhan. But RFK Jr. is still alive, and he is dismantled. The misinformation story, the narrative, the idea that misinformation is misinformation. If you're on Patreon, you can go see what he has to say. Sadly, I can't tell you how he dismantles the misinformation, because that true information might cause those to think that misinformation is being provided. What is with that kind of language? Why do I have to talk that way? Because those in power have censored us. The President of the United States, the White House administration, the political fire. Clean it up. The congressional authorities have the same opinions. They're politicized crap. They want only theirs to be heard, folks. And this is what, let me give you a final quote. Couple of quotes. Quote, "It's a euphemism, misinformation. It's a euphemism for any statement that departs from official government policy." And he says that they are engineering the destruction of democracy worldwide. Isn't it funny how the Democrats are saying that we're destroying democracy? That we, those who want freedom, that want fair elections, we're the bad guys. Isn't it funny? What kind of democracy are they asking for? What kind of democracy are they using their government power and policy to enact? Whatever it is, folks, I don't want any of it. And by the way, President Xi Biden, his Surgeon General, the Surgeon General of the United States of America, has basically brushed off the fact that first responders are leaving the workforce due to the mandates. Badges, we don't need your stinking badges. Love that line from Treasure of the Sierra Madre, starring Humphrey Bogart, a white guy. Anyways, that was a great old movie. Badges, we don't need no stinking badges. Yeah, you do. Let's see, first responders, folks, is paramedics, EMTs. First responders is firefighters. Oh yeah, and first responders is law enforcement. They're also first responders, folks. But we don't have to worry about those first responders who are leaving. I guess the Surgeon General doesn't give a shit about America, right? The hits just keep coming, folks. Facts. It's about facts and SHTF. Facts that you know are real, and the SHTF that's coming because the mainstream media, the government, are ignoring the facts. Their puppet masters in the banks and the corporate world are telling them to do this. Am I the misinformation source? Am I the dangerous opinion that can't be heard? Because what? I'm persuasive, and I might say something they don't like, and it's so persuasive that people will tend to believe me rather than the administration. Yeah, that's it, folks. The MSNBC host, folks, the hosts on MSNBC have attacked the racist trucking industry. Why? See, I'm the misinformation, but this is the truth, right? It's, quote, populated by a lot of white men who overwhelmingly voted for Trump. Are you fucking kidding me? No, folks, I'm not. Shit has hit the fan. It's not about real facts. It's not about reality. It's about their narrative, their story, labeling the facts as misinformation and providing misinformation to you and calling it fact. Whether it's the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, the White House, or the mainstream media. whether it's coming at you from woke corporatism or the banking system. They're coming after us all. And folks, get this. We're past half an hour into this, and I haven't even begun to scratch the surface on all of the incredible stories. I'm really kind of upset now. I've got another, there's 12, almost 20 more news article stories to bring to you. Share this video with everybody. Do it. Do it now. Do it now, folks. Let's take a little commercial break and get the word from one of our sponsors. I love that commercial. Folks, it's like memes with music. It's telling you something without having to actually tell it to you. That's why they hate memes, folks. They don't like us using creative artistic expression to voice a political, philosophical, legal opinion. Well, too bad for them. They can. Let's go, Brandon. Let us do this, though. Let's get to your questions.
Are you ready?
Unbelievable. Well, I got to tell you what, folks. We had a great Sunday night live at the zoo. I had a good time with you guys. I was trashed, though. I mean, they're continuing to push so much stuff on us. It's incredible. Let's see what you want to talk about, though. What's tickling your fancy? We've got Yankee Watchdog in the house, and he said, I've had that Olight on my M500 for over a year. I love it. How about that? Thank you, Yankee Watchdog. Olight is not a sponsor of the show. Olight is a line of products we carry at the preparedmind.club. They're not the most expensive lights. They're not the best lights, but they're pretty damn good. They're pretty damn affordable. And what the hell? You got to buy something. Anyways, we try and provide products that we say do what they do. I wish I could say you need some night vision rifle scopes, and they only cost $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. If you don't get one, you're a loser. I can't do that, folks. I can't. We find the best products, the best prices we can. We go to these companies and say, give us a link to put on the preparedmind.club. You guys can go there and get stuff. Pretty good stuff. I'm glad you like it. Uman says, what would that argument do to concealed carry if it were allowed to stand? Ooh, Uman jumps right back into the mud. Thank you, Uman, for all you do. You and Jolene are awesome. Well, he's talking about the Rittenhouse case, right? Since I have a concealed carry, and folks, by the way, so does Jim. So if anybody around the country runs into my brother Jim, understand, you fuck around with that guy, you're going to find out, right? And that's kind of what happened with Kyle. But he was openly carrying an AR-15, basically saying, I'm here to help everybody. And he was scrubbing off graffiti. He was cleaning stuff. He was helping people, medically helping people, right? If they got injured or hurt, he was trying to help people and carrying his self-protection. Basically, he's like a helpful porcupine, right? You allow him to help, but you don't go after and try to hurt him. You're going to get poked. Well, he poked a few people, did he not? But a concealed carry. Now, this has always been a point of contention that I had when discussing such matters with law enforcement in the great state of California. They would say, John, if you carry that gold cup of yours with the set of match sights, trigger, and overhaul that it has had, you will be sued because it'll look like you were trying to kill people. And I was like, really? That is going to, and they said, hey, you know, they told me that wasn't their opinion, but prosecutors would look at that as you were really ready. I said, well, should I shoot hollow points or lead rounds? Or should I use my reloaded ammunition? They go, oh, no, no, no. Don't use your reloaded ammunition. That will show that you have intent to kill people. I go, what's the fucking difference? It's a round of ammunition that goes bang and it comes out the barrel of the gun. I said, you know, I would stand up and make the argument that by carrying concealed, I am actually improving things for America because the bad guys don't know who's carrying and who isn't. And people who are afraid of guns don't have to be afraid of law-abiding, tax-paying, did I say law-abiding? Right? People who are carrying concealed. So they don't have to be all scared, but the protection is there. And isn't it safer that I have a gun, a self-defense tool, my Gold Cup or my Smith, that are extremely accurate so that I don't harm other people, right? And this fucking prosecutor today in this case, he is saying things like, well, you know, it's part of hunting safety to know that wherever you shoot, you should know what's behind you and behind your target. And Kyle Rittenhouse was carrying a gun in the city where there were people and houses and businesses behind those people that he shot at. And so he was recklessly endangering the lives of... Shut up, you fucking jackass. Nobody else was hit by any of the rounds fired from Kyle Rittenhouse's self-defense tool. He tried saying that because he did not use a hollow point, that ammunition could have passed through the people he shot and hit someone else. So he was recklessly endangering others. You can't fucking win with a prosecutor, folks, that is politically persecuting you, right? If you use a hollow point, well, you're trying to, he tried making it sound like a hollow point is an explosive, folks, because the bullet goes in and then explodes inside. And Kyle's like, he goes, isn't that how that works, young man? And Kyle's like, no, they don't explode. I don't agree with you. Thank you, Kyle, for not falling for that line of shit. Hollow points do not explode. Kinetic energy is delivered by a round of ammunition that has been fired from any kind of weapon. Kinetic energy is delivered. That's its job. How it's delivered depends on whether it's Full Metal Jacket or hollow point. It's incredible. And then he went on to say, well, even if you fire a hollow point, it can pass through, cause a lot of damage, and then hit someone else still. So you're a bad guy no matter what. It's crazy. There's no way to describe self-defense and using a gun to this prosecutor and make it sound justifiable. Not in his bizarro world, folks. So back to Uman's question, if you don't mind there, Jolene. Sorry about that. I know I'm getting long-winded, but this is important. The Kyle Rittenhouse case is about your right to self-defense. Hey, folks, if you can't use a gun, you can't use a bat. Now, back to, what about people who carry concealed? I have a concealed permit. So does Jimmy. So does Roger. So do a lot of you. And are you carrying that? Are you bringing a knife to a bank robbery? Are you bringing a knife? Bringing a gun to a bank robbery? Are you bringing it because you want to hurt someone? Is the ammunition you put in it intended to kill? And so you have intent to kill? My intention is to help others and uphold the law. My intention is to protect others and protect the public in general. Basically, I'm kind of like a law enforcement officer in that I don't want anyone committing a crime and causing great bodily harm or injury to others. And I will do what I can to stop them, to assist law enforcement in performing their duties. Right? What would this argument the prosecutor is doing to concealed carry if he wins? Well, it would make everyone go, why carry a gun? Because now I can't use it. Because I brought a gun to a gunfight. Because I brought a gun to a fist fight. because I brought a gun to a city where there's other people and buildings around. When a round of ammunition is fired from a weapon, eventually the bullet will land and touch the ground or something again. It comes down. What goes up must come down. That's what they want to do, folks. It will, if this is allowed to stand, every liberal, scumbag, communist, socialist prosecutor in this country, and folks, George Soros funded the campaign of many, many of them. And they will come after you, and they will prosecute you and say Kyle Rittenhouse was the case. They'll completely ignore the Supreme Court decision from years ago that said you have a right to self-defense as an individual. The two can't both coexist. This little chicken shit murder case against Kyle Rittenhouse, if he is convicted and found guilty, it will be appealed and it'll be turned over. It will go to the state Supreme Court, then the federal Supreme Court. And folks, here's the fact. If all along the way it is not overturned and Kyle found to have acted in self-defense, because the facts of the case are facts, the opinions of the prosecutors are merely opinions. The opinions of the defense are merely opinions, but the facts are the facts. And if no court will recognize the facts, as we apparently go up the power, authority, and intelligence scale, because by the time you get up to the federal courts and the Supreme Court, they're supposed to be very smart. If you get up there and they still find Kyle to have not acted in his own self-defense, then you will know we live in an unconstitutional idiocracy and that shit is hit the fan and it will only get worse, and you'll have no choice but to choose between your life and your liberty. Man, great revisit there. Thank you again, sir. Now we move on to Preparedness para America Latina. If you guys get that, that's pretty good Spanglish coming from me. Says Austria announced lockdowns on people who have refused the Jim Jones juice. Several Scandinavian nations have banned the Jim Jones juice. They banned mandating it. France and Germany stopped the Jim Jones juice with people under 30 due to myocarditis risks. Should people consider relocating? The answer absolutely is yes. Yes, yes, and yes. I think people should consider relocating. This subject, relocating, has been a human condition for thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of years. People have migrated, folks, around the country trying to find better lands for food, comfort of living, being around other human beings that aren't total jackasses, etc. As we've moved through history and become more civilized, people still tend to flee areas where those with power, authority, and wealth use their power, authority, and wealth to harm and hurt and hold down others. This country, the United States of America, was created because people were leaving Europe, countries like Germany, France, England, Scotland, Ireland, Scandinavia, where the royalty were royal assholes. That's right. I hate to say it, but the royalty were royal assholes. People said, fuck it, we're out of here. And so they left. And good for them. Today, even in so-called democracies, even in so-called free countries, freedoms don't exist and democracy has been turned on its head. Constitutional republics are being told, well, there's an emergency, so you don't get to be free anymore. Unbelievable. Yes, people should consider relocating, but there's a lot more to consider than just freedom. You should consider your freedom and how you want to live as a free or not person. Freedom's number one. People left Europe for the Americas for religious freedom and political freedom. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. By the way, I want to add a little to that. There was a UK study that has revealed that 99.995% of children and young people survive cerveza bug. There is only, according to the experts in the United Kingdom, which is England and Scotland and Ireland, in the UK, only 2 in a million. You have a 2 in a million chance to be fatal. Doesn't sound real dangerous. Now, miserable? Yeah, I'm sure it's miserable to get that cerveza bug, but deadly if you're a kid, if you're very young. So I guess we need to tell children, right, to wrap duct tape around their mouth and nose and put masks on them. I mean, that sounds like that'll fix the problem, won't it? Unbelievable. We got William Travis checks in. He says, I was thinking about the ships off the coast. Do you think the government is holding them there until it costs China so much money that they turn around and go home and stop doing business with us? That is an excellent question to ask, because it's not far from the reality that we're being faced with. It's like, what's the point of this? Now, interestingly, the Chinese government is not the ones who have chartered those ships and used them as cargo carriers. Common carrier, cargo carrier. No, it's private companies out of China and other nations. But here's the fact, is due to extenuating circumstances, that is, this problem caused by the government of the United States of America, compounded by the port authorities and the union workers, that is going to cause the cost of those goods to go up. Now, the company that made those goods, that paid to ship them all the way to America, don't want to pay to have that same company bring it all the way back. They're going to wait and have those ships offloaded, and someone is going to be charged for the expense of that ship being parked. Someone will. Guess who do you think it's going to be? It's going to be you. It's going to be me. It's going to be the American consumer. We are going to have to pay for all this. The government has no money. The government has the ability to write a check that you will have to pay back through your taxes. They don't have money. There is no treasury. They don't have a room, folks, full of rubies and gems and diamonds and gold. Nope. They don't have a room full of invisible bitcoins that have inestimable value, because it's just, their bitcoins don't exist, folks. It's digital. The same way digital dollars don't exist, the same way the treasury does not have a treasury room full of money. They have a computer, and they'll type in some numbers, hit the send button, and someone has now the ability to spend on credit. And the government is that thing that has the ability to spend on unlimited credit, because the government says you will pay it back. Moving on, if we shall. I don't think they're going to turn around and go home. This is the United States government punishing the people of the United States. This is putting the hurt on us until we obey. They keep promising we're going to go back to normal if only we obey. If more people get the Jim Jones juice, well, things will be fine. If you just wear your masks, things will be fine. If you just be patient and let's flatten the curve, things will be fine and back to normal. No fucking chance, folks. No fucking chance. And as I predicted, we're going to find out how wrong or right I am after Christmas, possibly the New Year, but soon thereafter, we are going to be visited by the ghost of tyrants past. In other words, they're going to lock us down and punish the shit out of us. Unbelievable prognostication on my part. Or is it absolutely believable? We got Christine Bihana right here with a question. And welcome back to the Prepared Mind Network. I hope you enjoyed your brief time off. It says this, something I learned this weekend that I never knew. Hang on, folks. Ready? People and animals are 40% more likely to get dehydrated during winter than in summer. Staying hydrated in winter will help insulate you from frostbite should you be outside in winter without shelter. Thought I'd share that. There it is, folks. I won't argue with those facts or statistics. You're 40% more likely to be dehydrated. That makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. Why? Because it's cold, and we equate in our minds that heat and sweating dehydrates us. Well, especially in colder climates, you are cold and you don't think of drinking. Water is going to be cold, so you don't want to put it in your body. Water actually acts as a thermal mass, and it does hold heat in and keep you from getting frostbite. It helps improve your circulation of your blood by keeping it thinner and not overly thick. Already in the winter, your blood is colder if you're cold and chilly, and it gets thicker, right? Whoops, you got problems, especially if you've had some Kool-Aid and you tend to clot up a lot. But back to water. You exhale in the winter water vapor the same way you do in the summer. People don't seem to think that. They don't seem to realize that, right? But on a cold day, you see that steam coming out of your mouth. That's actual literal steam. That's how much moisture you exhale with every breath, right? You take a shower, you got all this water coming down and all this steam coming up. That's a lot of moisture. Yeah, and another thing you need to be wary of is salt. Do not forget your salt. Extremely important to make sure you have salt in your system. All right, we got Heidi. Heidi checks in and says, what kind of dumbass chases down a guy carrying a rifle? You are trying to use common sense, Heidi. I'm going to have to ask you to stop that and come back to the liberal left lunatic side and listen to what the argument was the prosecutor made. He tried making the argument that Kyle Rittenhouse was running down the street with his rifle during a riot where people were screaming at Kyle Rittenhouse as he ran down the street, "We're going to fucking kill you." And that the guy, one of the guys that he shot, was not chasing him, that he just happened to be running in the same exact path as Kyle Rittenhouse right behind him, that they were both concurrently running, but for different reasons, not the chasee and the chaser. No, it was Kyle thinking he was chased, and this guy just out for a jog during a riot in the middle of the night while other people were screaming at Kyle, "We're going to fucking kill you." The guy also tried making the argument, and he tried using a pen. He tried using an ink pen to say, well, if you look at the angle that the guy's hand was at compared to the barrel of the rifle that Kyle had, it would have been impossible for him to grab the barrel. So he wasn't really trying to grab and take Kyle's rifle from him. Okay, wait a minute here. Are you telling me that you, the prosecutor, know exactly what the guy who appears to have grabbed the rifle barrel was trying to do? Now, they were both running, as noted, even though one wasn't chasing. Somehow, Kyle fell on the ground, and the guy who wasn't chasing him stopped and reached out and put his hand towards the barrel. Now, the barrel is swinging all over the place because Kyle fell on the ground. So it dropped in elevation as Kyle dropped in elevation. And as Kyle rolled around on the ground, the barrel swung around. And this guy may have been reaching for it and kind of missed it because it's moving and they're both moving and it's kind of hard to grab. But it certainly looks like he was trying to grab it. Now, if I was chasing Kyle Rittenhouse and he had a rifle and he's laying on the ground and I was running up upon him, I, being the guy I am, well, I would have stopped quite a few feet shorter if I was a murderous, left-wing, communist, socialist, Antifa type member, which I'm not. But let me rephrase that only. Strike that from the record. Step back. An intelligent, murderous thug would have stopped about 10 feet away, pulled his weapon out, and shot Kyle. This guy is obviously not that smart. He ran up all the way to Kyle Rittenhouse. He was not just out for a nice jog that night. He was there with others threatening to murder Kyle. And he tried grabbing the barrel, probably to point it away from him so he could give him a point blank execution headshot. That's what I'm going to assume, because the guy literally ran down the same path as Kyle. Looks like chasing to me. Kyle fell. He was on top of him. Kyle was bringing the rifle around. He tried to grab it and missed. He pulled his gun out and was going to execute Kyle. And Kyle shot him in the bicep. And the bullet did a lot of damage because of its kinetic energy. Whoops. Fuck around and find out. All right, we got the electrical Serge. He says, amazing how one can fire into a crowd of liberals and instantly hit a pedophile, a woman beater, and a career criminal. It's as if their party is made up entirely of subhumans. Isn't that just fucking amazing? Yeah. I bet that you could get a crowd of these BLM types that were running around in every city, and I bet you would have similar results. If you, I'm not saying shoot them with a gun, folks. That would be terrible. I'm saying you just line up 100 of these protesters and go pull 3 out. Just 1, 2, 3. Just randomly grab 3 looters. I'm sorry, 3 mostly peaceful protesters out of this crowd that's going to, just have a very small number of people committing heinous crimes like, let's see, looting, murdering, raping, arson. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I bet any of the crowds, you pulled them out, and you're gonna end up with pedophiles, career criminals, murderers, thugs. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Yankee Watchdog says, soon, since technology took over, people that desperately need a punch in the mouth stopped getting them. That's true because of the camera. People now realize, at least most people, that what they do is filmed and will be put on the internet and handed over to the police. In a lot of ways, that stopped a lot of stupid. But if Kyle is found guilty, then good people will no longer defend themselves. And stupid people will believe that no matter what story they concoct in their squirrel cage of a fucking brain, whatever harebrained idea, they're going to say, I was not there to commit a crime. I was trying to help the guy. I was trying to help Kyle Rittenhouse stand up. The argument was made also in the Kyle Rittenhouse case that they were just there to take the gun from Kyle. They didn't think Kyle should have it. So they're chasing an armed guy that they think is so dangerous, he should have his gun taken from them. So they're chasing a guy that dangerous, screaming, we're going to fucking kill you. They're chasing that guy, but they're not chasing him, according to the prosecutor, even though they said they're chasing him, trying to take his gun away from him. Well, if someone has a gun and they believe that they're going to be murdered because people are screaming, I'm going to fucking kill you, and let's kill him, odds are he's going to try and use it. Why would you try and take a gun from a guy who believes he's about to be killed by you because you have a gun pointed at his fucking head? It is so phenomenally plain and clear to anyone who uses reason and common sense. I tell you what, folks, we're at the 1 hour mark. I'm going to peace out. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'll be back this afternoon. I'll be back, whatever. I'll be back. And also, folks, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Get prepared. These idiots are not going to stop. Period. Oh, and Semper Fi, Godspeed to you.